Hello guys and welcome to Volokinproject. This is Tony and this is the ZTE Axon 35G released back in 2021 for 500 euros. Now, what was the selling point of this phone? Well, apart from the beautiful design, as you can see over here, there's the aqua color. The phone had a camera under the screen, and there's the second generation camera under the screen for ZTE. And to be honest with you, that's probably the worst gimmick that I have seen for years on any phone. But before we get into that, I've got the box over here. Very quick unboxing, guys, and something very important. Check this out. What does it say over here? Prolonged use of this music player at full volume may damage your hearing. They actually have a point over here, and I'll tell you why a little bit later on into the video. Now, that's a good packaging that I actually quite like, to be honest with you. That's a third-party screen protector that I've bought. Over here you had a plastic case, which I'm really not a fan of, but you know, it's a case, it's free, it's in the box, so why not use it for the time being until you find an actual you know, nice case that you actually like. Now, one thing is worth mentioning, that in terms of availability, those phones, at least in Europe, are mostly available in Germany and across the pond in the US. In the UK, they have pretty much no presence, and that's why I didn't buy it when new. So, the one thing that I was about to show you is, by the way, we have a charger in the box, which is rather quick. I'll tell you a bit later on about the charging times. And over here is the most important part that I wanted to share with you guys. Of course, you have the cable. However, now you have a, well, suspiciously looking, you know, earbuds over here nevertheless, but this bad boy over here makes all of the difference, guys. Now, phones nowadays don't ship with 3.5mm to USB Type-C dongles, but ZTE decided to include one. Not only that, this is hands down the best 3.5mm to USB-C dongle that I have ever heard. It is absolutely equal to the legendary HTC dongle, which is still #1 so many years after the release. So this dongle is definitely badass, guys. This dongle gets the job done and is completely free inside the box over here. So thumbs up to ZTE for including that. Now, box on the side. The phone itself doesn't have a 3.5mm jack, obviously, and the speaker is only one bottom firing speaker over here, guys, which is unfortunate, but it is quite loud, so it definitely gets the job done. Now, as you can see, the design of the phone is absolutely beautiful. We have these very weird accents over here, and the camera module is spectacular as well. It's a shame that the camera is a total letdown, but on that a little bit later on. Now, the issue is that this is all plastic, guys. The sides are plastic, everything on this phone is plastic, so naturally you can see some scratchings like that over here just for the use of a case. It doesn't look very nice after a couple of years, but you know, they decided to cut costs and to differentiate the two models, the Axon 30 Pro and this one. And again, 500 euros upon release. I really wasn't interested price wise, but now you know, 3 years later I managed to get it cheaply and decided, why not, let me give it a test. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed. This phone obviously has quite a few strengths, but it has quite a few deal breakers as well. And don't get me wrong, if you're using this phone and you're perfectly happy with it, well, okay, that's perfectly fine. However, I'm a man that is hard to please. I mean, I need everything, guys, from a phone, and this phone just doesn't deliver, especially on this particular price. Not what we're dealing with after all. So we have the Snapdragon 870 flagship SoC, 8GB of RAM, 128GB of storage. Of course, there are more storage options, but we're looking at the base version over here, and the battery is 4200 mAh. Now, the screen is 6.9 2 AMOLED screen, guys. Absolutely massive screen over here, and for 4200 milliamp hours of battery, it just doesn't work for me. I'm consistently getting about 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time, which is not good at all. And one time I got 6 hours and I didn't do anything different, so there is definitely an issue going on with the optimization of this phone, but I'll touch on that a little bit later on. In terms of charging, 15 minutes gives you 50% and full charge in about 40 minutes, which is not the best, but is definitely good enough. The fingerprint reader is over here, guys. It is a really good fingerprint reader, works the majority of the time. And face unlock, check this out. I'll demonstrate face unlock for you in a second. Boom, it works. However, you know, raise to wake, sometimes it doesn't work. As you can see, I just picked up the phone and it just doesn't work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. So it's a little bit inconsistent, to be honest with you. And also, when we talk about unlocking the device, double tap to wake, okay, we have that, but we don't have double tap to shut the screen off, which again is unfortunate. But never mind. Now let's address the elephant in the room over here, the camera, guys. And I'm not sure if my camera can actually focus, but you can definitely see where the camera is. It's not completely hidden, and keep in mind that I've intentionally put a black wallpaper over here, and there is an option so you can tweak pretty much how you see the camera, whether this part is black or is a part of the background. And I got so annoyed that on every single occasion I can actually see that I've blacked it out, so I don't see that camera anymore. And to be honest with you, considering the screen is so huge, 6.92 inches, guys, it's definitely pushing the limit of what's comfortable. It barely fits in any pocket. It's not that it's too huge or too bulky, but it's just on the edge, guys. It's just on the edge. And considering how big this phone is, I mean, that was absolutely unnecessary. So overall, I love the design. I don't like the camera. And by the way, camera, I'll quickly show you a couple of photos from this camera over here, guys. The results are absolutely tragic. I didn't know that this is going to affect the camera quality so much. You can see a couple of examples over here, but they're tragic. The video, well, let's have a quick look at the video. It speaks for itself. Okay guys, so testing the under the display camera video of the Axon 30. It doesn't look very good on the screen, but nevertheless, let's see how the stabilization works, if there's any saving grace in this phone, or it doesn't really matter because the camera is under the display. But yeah. Okay, and moving on to the back of the phone, we have a couple of disappointments over here. First of all, 8 megapixel super wide angle camera is absolutely useless, guys. 8 megapixel is not enough for super wide angle camera. You cannot change my mind on that. It is just not enough and it's not good. We have 2 megapixel bokeh camera, which you're never gonna use. And the surprise over here is a 5 megapixel macro camera, which actually can take shots like this example and this example over here, which is definitely nice to have. You're not gonna use it every day, but it's something really nice to have, guys. And the main disappointment is from the 64 megapixel Sony IMX, let me check my notes, camera, so Sony IMX 682, guys. Well, this camera is not good. I went on a day out in the zoo with my family. I went back home to the computer. I downloaded the photos and I'm like, what is wrong with this camera? Because nowadays, for the last couple of years, even if you have a budget phone, the main camera is still good and the rest of the cameras are not. But in this case, even the main camera is not good, guys. It's just everything is too washed out. There are no details. The focus is exactly at the center of the frame, so I really don't like this camera, unfortunately. And yeah, camera wise, yeah, it's not good, guys. It's not good. It's definitely not good. Okay guys, so testing the video capabilities of the Axon 30, 4K 60 FPS over here. I'm going to try to do a quick sprint in a second just to see how the stabilization works. There we go. And let's have a look at the autofocus. Alright. Let's test 1080p now. Okay, and just a quick test, 4K 30 FPS this time, guys. Just a quick sprint over here. Okay, and let's check the autofocus once again. It's way better over here. And now in terms of performance, let me say this: Snapdragon 670 120 Hz screen, it definitely feels snappy enough. However, at no point I felt that I'm actually using a proper flagship, guys. Considering that this is just a 1080p screen over here, this phone should be flying, and it's not exactly flying, guys. It's good enough, but it's not perfect as well. I've run a couple of benchmarks. I had really low results over here on the 3D Mark. I'm really not sure why. Have a look at that. Wildlife Extreme Stress Test, just 600 points. Other people with the same phone were getting double that. But nevertheless, the issue is with the gaming. For example, let me start up. Let me see. I'll start up Wreckfest quickly and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Wreckfest is one of those games that it has issues with Android 12, guys. It doesn't run right. It's not that the SoC is not powerful enough, it's just the version is so old of the Android that you know, the application doesn't run properly. And I've been, throughout these years, I've been one of those guys who are saying, you know, I don't insist on having the latest updates as long as the bugs are ironed out and the phone works fine. However, over here it's not exactly the case, because the phone was released with Android 11, it got updated to Android 12, and pretty much that's it. No further versions. And Android 12 is pretty old right now. So let me show you what we're talking about. Everything works fine over here, right? No problem whatsoever. Check this out. I'm gonna play this track over here, and by the way, graphical settings are on the bare minimum over here, guys, for this phone. And check this out. Did you see how everything changed suddenly? Check this out, the frame rate and everything, guys. Have a look at that. Look at that. Just look at the lag on that thing. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. This is not playable, guys. This is, you can see the frames. This is not playable at all. Do you see how bad it looks? I mean, that shouldn't run that bad, but it actually does. And if you can see over here, we're gonna do something else. I swipe up like that and the phone is super snappy over here, right? You go back to the game and it's just not right, guys. With other games you're not gonna have the issue, of course, but with this particular game you do have the issue. And the thing is, there's one game that I like to play and I have issues with. But yeah, let's talk about the software quickly. I overall quite like it, to be honest with you. You have the dark theme over here. It's relatively nice and clean. You don't have many additional functions, but you know, just this and that the phone is generally missing, which is not fine. And the thing is, have a look at that. Right, my OS 12 Android security, 1st of March 2024. Google Play system update. Okay, Google Play is fine, but security March 2024. That means that pretty much they stopped with the security updates, which is less than 3 years of security updates, guys. It's more like 2.5 years of security updates. And Android, well, 1 year update of the Android, which is just not enough for this particular device. And I see that the video is getting quite long. I pretty much managed to touch up on everything about this phone. Let's sum it up very quickly. You can actually have a look at the Volokin Spectrum scoring system that I have on my channel, guys. The phone is getting a pretty low score of just 33 out of 60, simply because nothing is pretty much right apart from the excellent audio output. And you have the DTS sound as well. You have the additional you know, settings over here, which well, boosts the audio experience, which I was pleasantly surprised to see. So yeah, okay, cool. Audio is fine. Only one bottom firing speaker. The gimmick over here of the camera, the plastic design, the 500 euro price, the unsatisfactory camera performance, the not good battery life, and you know, there are too many weaknesses of this phone, which is a shame. It could have been a great phone. It absolutely looks stunning, guys. I really love how this phone looks, but unfortunately I have been disappointed by it, which is not good, but there we go. And something else, ZTE, I know they're not watching this video right now, of course, why should they, but Europe is not only Germany, guys. Over here, if you would have sold it in the UK and priced it at about 250 pounds, something like that, this phone would have sold, but you decided to release it on 500 euros, which is ridiculous, and it failed. So so yeah, my advice is forget about the under the screen camera, guys. If you're actually planning to use that camera, even if you're not, you're gonna be staring at that camera all the time, which is absolutely annoying. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Just don't buy this phone, simple as that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.